Zach Lashway. He's live out, I believe he's outside of First Avenue. No, he's out at Paisley Park in Chanhassen. Zach, what can you tell us out there? I'm sure it's emotional.
You know, Brian, you talk about an impact, and certainly I wish he could feel the impact from these folks out here in Chanhassen outside of his Paisley Park residence. People are very sad, and I wish he could feel like if he did, I'm sure he did. There are a lot of sad hearts throughout the world today, a lot of them right here in Chanhassen. With me is Kristina. She traveled from Victoria. You've been a lifelong fan of Prince. You're here, you're emotional today, along with hundreds of other folks who came out here who are emotional as well. What's going through your mind right now?
It's a shocking moment. He was way too young, and his music was magical. It was so impacted so many people, and he all over the world. So it's very sad.
Kristina was telling me earlier that she is actually from Sweden, and I was asking you the impact, the presence he had there. What was that like?
You know, he made an impression everywhere he went, and his music, and big legend in all of Europe, and especially in Sweden, so definitely.
The Minneapolis boy who I was reading up on him on my way here. You know, my favorite Prince song is Little Red Corvette, but I was reading up on him when I was en route here to Paisley Park. He sold more than 1 million records worldwide, 7 Grammy Awards, a Golden Globe, and Academy Award, a very decorated man, touching folks all over Minneapolis, Minnesota, the United States, and places far beyond, including Europe. I know you said you came out here. What brought you out here this morning?
You just felt like you had to be here. Part of, you know, respecting him and making his life go on. His music go on, and by just giving him respect.
You said you brought a bouquet of flowers and you put on the gate.
I did, and it was a very emotional moment. Private and emotional, so.
Is this a closure for you? Is this some sort of closure for you? And
you could probably say so. I don't feel it yet, but it will be.
How did you find out that he passed?
A co-worker of mine at Snap Fitness, so. Yep.
And you left work, and you did what you knew you could do, and not many people in Sweden, in Florida, in New York can drive here to his home.
2 minutes away from work, and I feel actually very lucky to be able to be here to pay respect.
You know, in my ear, Brian and Di, they were talking about the impact they're hoping that Prince felt that he had on all of these people. Do you think that he felt the impact that he left on the world, whether it be through his music or his presence or his whatever that be, his or whatever that is? Do you think he felt that?
I'm sure he felt it. He must have, because he got so much love from all over the world, and he gave it back to us, especially through his music.
Being out here today and seeing these folks emotional like you are,
it brings all of us together. You know, it's not the time we want to be brought together, but it does. And I think it's important for people to be brought together at this time.
And I must ask you, on a high note,
yep,
what's your favorite Prince song, or are there many?
There are so many. You know, where doves cry, you know, beautiful. There's so many. And there's one that's not played very often, and I don't remember the name of it right now, but he's got so many.
Did you follow any of his music from the band that he was part of, 94 East? That was his cousin's band back in the day when I think he was 19.
No, I have to be honest, no. It's more the 80s music, yeah. Seen him in concert many times. So.
And that was another thing that you were talking about, that you actually attended 2 concerts here, right? 2? One.
Concert, but he didn't sing at that time, but he was there in presence, and just that part was fascinating.
What was that evening like?
It was, it's such a small place in there, and it's so private, you know, no cameras are allowed, nothing. So you really feel like you're part of it without any media around, and it's very nice.
And it's intimate. It's an
intimate setting.
I know from looking out the outside of this building, it's massive. It's absolutely massive.
But it doesn't feel like that inside.
Very intimate.
Yep, very intimate.
Living headquarters.
Yeah, we don't going to those, but you know, it's a huge room, but it still feels into
An auditorium-like room.
right. Yes.
Were you
correct.
seated? Were there seats?
Nope, you just stand and hang out. Hang out. There's some seating around and, you know, small little rooms, but yeah, very, very neat. I'm glad I was able to be there.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank
Kristina.
you.
Thank you very much. And Brian and Di, that's really the most of it here. About 100 people here gathered, very emotional, very hysterical. When I arrived on scene, there was a woman at one of the entrance to his property, and she was on the ground, and she was very, very, very emotional. She is one that is standing next to the gate. She has also brought a bouquet of flowers. We'll be here all morning long, all afternoon long. I do know, I was speaking with authorities, I think they're actually going to close off this street. You can see just down the road, cars parked. As far as the eye can see, there is a hill, so I'm not sure how far this distance is, but again, a lot of cars, a lot of people, traffic here, and a very emotional day here in Chanhassen.
A lot of people coming to pay their last respects
Yeah.
at Paisley Park, where so many hits were made.